All right, Glenda again to do the standing work. As I'm walking, I just want you to notice that I'm going slow enough so I can kind of feel heel, ball, toe. I consider this part of my PT. I've got belly to spine, and when I walk, I try to walk slow enough that I'm not favoring one leg over the other. In other words, kind of in that limping pattern. And I will say this is a good moment to talk just briefly about equipment. I was given, with part of the bundle that I got, it's an insurance thing, one of the walkers that is, a frame and is not rolling. And it was fine, it was great, but I had to go walker, walker, with my feet. And I realized that that pattern was gonna, over time, possibly cause me some issues. So I highly, highly recommend a rolling walker where your strides can be really even and you're not having to lift. Okay, so that's the thing. So the walker's gonna be in front of me for support for this next round of exercises. I can lock it, so I will certainly do that. And what I'm trying to do is use it, but not lean into it, just have it there as support. So one of the first things, I got this exercise 4 days after my surgery at PT, is to stand with the feet about hips width distance apart, stand up as much as possible. So the way I know that I'm standing up as much as possible is my weight isn't forward, which feels honestly more comfortable in the balls of my feet, but I lift low belly to low back and I feel my weight centered on my arches. Now, this gets super tired from being in the bed, so we will address that. We're gonna start with these calf raises. My hands are lightly on the walker. I'm trying to stay wide here and engage my core. And rather than have my chin forward, retract the chin a little, lift the back of the skull. So I'm feeling very tall. I feel a little effort trying to lengthen the leg. And so I like to go, inhale, lift up, feeling even in the bones of the feet again. So I'm not on the little toe more or the big toe too much, but as even as I can. And then I like to slow lower. Inhale. And to engage belly to spine, I might do a hiss. And when I inhale and rise up, I try not to lift my shoulders because I'm inhaling. If I can really go slow coming up too, even better, because I'm really going to work the calves more. I'm trying not to use my hands much. Sometimes I'll hover them. Now remember, I have a dance training, so balance is something that I've worked with my whole life that is very part of my nature. And so if that's not you, totally normal. If it is, see how light you can be, have the walker there, but maybe you'll be able to find your own way with it, or to tap lightly, or if you need to hold for more support. All are great. It's so much about meeting yourself where you are without judgment. Because judgment will not help your integration process. Impatience will not help your integration process. You want to love your body throughout, and loving your body means honoring it and listening to it. That's how we bring the energy of love to ourselves, is we do not make ourselves wrong and we do not compare ourselves. Oh, I'm feeling my calves burning. And that's something that's really interesting to me. It doesn't take long for me to feel stuff. And so I know that my body has been compensating and I've lost strength as I've been dealing with the hip injury for all this time. So I'm being patient with myself. Things that didn't used to make me sore or didn't used to, cause sensation so quickly are. That's okay. That's my body letting me know. Thanks. All right. I don't know how many I've done. I try to do about 15. And then another thing that I guess about 10 or 11 days post-op was to do little bitty, what I like, the PT calls it squats. Because I'm a yogi, I call it chair pose. But the point is, and you will need something to hang on to. It could be, this walker's stable. It could be like a chest of drawers or a countertop. And what you're gonna do is belly to spine and sink the hips back and bend the knees, and then squeeze the glutes, lift your low belly and press into your feet. So you're hinging at the hips. I like to think of the top of my thigh bone, of my femur bone, softening and moving back. I stay wide across the chest, and then I press evenly into the bones of the feet. Now here's one of those times where moving slow not only allows me to track my knees over my third toe, and I'm widening my sits bones when I sit back, but it also allows me to really leverage my strength as I press. It takes more strength to move slowly, and I'm all about trying to strengthen. And so I'll inhale here, and I use the exhale to bring belly to spine and press down. You can play with the breath. You might like it the other way. You might like to exhale and then inhale and stretch, but I like to inhale. One's not better than the other. Just feel your way and exhale, press. Sometimes I bring my hands to my heart, really feel. I want my weight more, behind me, like I'm trying to sit in a chair. And this probably helps us do things like sit on the potty, sit down in a chair eventually. Occupational therapy, like what are the things that we need to be able to do with this new hip? And again, I'm super aware, do I have 50-50 weight in my feet? Are my knees tracking? Because I don't want to, while I'm integrating, create some sort of bad habit or patterning, particularly when I'm doing something multiple times and repeating it. We want to repeat really good practices in alignment. And then the last one of this set, I like to hold and do just like the most baby bounce and breathe. Really feel the heel bones, feel that foot to hip connection, just like I did in the bridge poses on my couch, which could have been my bed, by the way. And then press. Now, after I do a few sets of the calf raises and the high chairs, as I like to call them, because I'm not going back into like a full chair pose, I like to add a little qigong that I learned from my teacher. And she does what she calls shaking qigong. So I'm gonna bend my knees a little and just do like a little bounce shake. I really can't do a lot. Like in my class, normally our stance is wider and we're really shaking, but I'm doing a gentle version. And this is good just to sort of release tension, to shake off tension, to let the body sort of release and fluff up the joints. And it's also good, my teacher says, and I believe I feel it, for blood flow. If you do it for a while, it's kind of good for the heart, cardiac. And of course, we want all that good blood flow coming to the area where the tissues are healing and the muscles and nerves, and where the bone is knitting to the new bionic part. Yeah. And I try to also make sure that I'm not holding tight in my jaw, but that I can kind of let my head move a little bit. If balance feels like an issue, hands on the walker, it's just like the most gentle bounce. I'm not gripping my toes. That's important. Sometimes when we do this, there's an instinct to grip your toes. If you're gripping and it doesn't feel good, don't do it. This should just be sort of like a let go, 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 let go. I can feel a little bit of releasing the muscle, kind of shaking off the bone a little, and that just feels so good because this is so tight and talking to me at times, and so I'm trying to talk to it back. We're having conversation. I'm like, you don't have to work so hard. You can let go. We can let movement come through this new joint in the most gentle way. All right. And then just like on the couch, yesterday as I was doing this, I was like, oh, I can combine those two. And so for the next set, I'm going to go inhale, hinge at the waist. I'm staying wide across the chest. Little chin retraction. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, calf raise. Exhale, slow lower. You could do that hissing breath if you want. Inhale. So see, I am moving slower than most people that I see do this at PT. I'm doing that because I'm really vigilant about where's my weight? What am I feeling? What am I utilizing? Am I hinging forward? Slowing down also, I've learned this as a dance teacher. When we do super slow warm-ups, my dancers have to use core strength. They get so much stronger. When you move fast, you can skip through things, you can avoid things, and you might not feel as clearly. Where's your weight? Do you have length from the crown of your head to your tail? Are you gripping with your toes? Are you gripping with your jaw? Inhale, sit. Exhale, squeeze, lift the low belly and stand. Keep that low belly I feel like it's lifting in and rising up, shoulders glide down the back body. Exhale, slowly lowering, feeling the weight evenly on the balls of the feet. Maybe this is where you want to be. Inhale. Exhale, stand. Sometimes I'll add a little inhale, shoulder roll. Exhale, slowly lower. That's when I really want to challenge myself. I could do that with my hands here. Inhale. Exhale, stand. Inhale, sort of roll the shoulders, drop them down the back body, and lift the low belly. I'll do two more. And then I like to do holds on each to just really get there and feel. That could be as long as feels right for you. I'm looking for center weight. I'm looking for wide belly lifted, tuck the chin, back of the neck. I might add that little bounce so that my body knows I'm not stuck. I don't want to get rigid or hold my breath. The breath needs to flow. Deep belly breathing. That has been a big part of my practice post-surgery. To lay in bed, bring my hands to my belly and breathe into my hands. So close to the area. Just really starting to let things move around where the surgery was, I think has been so helpful. So I share that. Then I'll slow press down, squeeze the glutes, squeeze, 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 squeeze to stand. And then trying to use my feet pressing to come up. And maybe I can hold here, open across the chest. Very challenging. Also kind of fun to play with. Absolutely. Can hold, can tap. Trying to stay in a sense of where is the effort being placed. And in other words, trying not to get rigid, trying to stay somewhat calm in the body, to let the work happen where the work needs to, and to not allow the muscles that I'm trying to work to recruit other things like my face muscles or my shoulders coming up, but to really have belly to spine, press into the feet, engage the quadriceps, engage the glutes, and then slowly lower. And then I'm gonna give myself another break. This time I could do this again, and I did yesterday, but I also, after being so vertical, sometimes I like to add a twist. So I'm gonna widen my feet a little. This is okay for me now. I've experimented with it. The main thing here is that I want to keep my legs, my knees a little bent, if you can see that. So my knees are a little bent, and I wanna keep my legs, and my hips facing forward. And then I'm just gonna shift side to side gently as far as feels comfortable. This feels okay. And then because I've been so linear, my spine, especially laying in bed, doesn't twist much. So the body is staying here, and I'm just letting a gentle look and twist to the side. This comes from Tai Chi that I took years ago. We would do this. We would do it and bend the elbow and kind of barely tap the back of the kidneys to kind of wake up the kidneys. So I like to do that. I like to think about loving on all my organs that have helping me move through this time. Again, it's a little spiral of the spine. I've been trying to do a lot of work with the spine because one of the things I've noticed is that in physical therapy, they're really great at helping you work with the site of injury or integration, but nobody's having me do twist or lateral flexion and extension in the spine or spinal waves, all of which are super important in the integration because your body's a whole. Yes, there are parts of the whole, but we want to integrate it. And the spine is super important, houses our nervous system, so I want to keep that fluid, engaged, space between the vertebra, so I don't develop other problems because I've been lying in bed and seated and much more stationary than I normally would be, because rest is super important and I'm all about rest. Those of you who are yoga practitioners hopefully know that Shavasana is the most advanced pose, that resting and getting your nervous system to balance and recalibrate is one of the best things you can do for yourself. So as much as you see me doing this movement, know that rest is a huge part of my practice, always. All right. Then from there, I might let that wind down. So again, you can do calf raises separate, you could do your high chairs separate, and then maybe do a little shake between or a twist. The other thing that I have been assigned are little leg raises. Again, these are challenging for me in my current state. So I bring the left leg in, and what is helping me? So this is the action. You want to keep your toes pointed forward. You want to go to where your body says stop and come in, and be very mindful that your weight is even on what I'm going to call, in dance we would call this your standing leg and this your working leg. And so I was feeling super stiff, and I noticed if I just opened my opposite arm up, roll the shoulder, and brought it down, there was something that made me feel more like a whole body. Now, you may not find that. This just feels better to me. It could be goalpost, it could be arm out. Other thing I did was back of my hand and lift the low belly into my hand. So like I'm bringing my belly to my hand, back of my hands on my low back. So I'm really engaging core and opening the shoulder that is tight from reading and watching more movies than I normally watch. And because I'm a multitasker, I might do a couple shoulder rolls while I do this. Again, that might sound like crazy talk. I'm starting to really feel that right glute. Oh my goodness. I don't know how many that was. I'm going to do a little bounce. And then in between these, I widen my stance. I bring my arms to goalposts. If goalpost is not a thing right now for you, hands light. The point is, if you've heard about cow and cat spine, I'm actually going to face sideways to show this one. I'm going to bend my knees over my third toe. Again, the width of the stance, totally feel that for yourself. Inhale, retract the chin, do a little cow spine. In other words, I'm letting my sits bones widen and move back, collarbones are wide, and exhale, close the elbows, scoop the tailbone under, bringing the pubic bone towards the navel center. Inhale, exhale. Now my teacher in Qigong says, as you inhale, like you imagine this sunny, bright light coming into your body, and as you exhale, you're letting go of any dis-ease in the body, anything that needs to go. And I love mind-body practices because I know that they are intertwined, that mind, body, and spirit work together. So this idea of taking in goodness and releasing anything that is not about my integration, anything in my mind, in my body, in my spirit, anything that blocks the flow of my healing. Inhale, exhale. Last time I inhale, I've been using this time to interlace because I am getting tight across the shoulders. So rolling the shoulders, either bringing elbows together here is great, doing a couple breaths where you really focus on opening through the chest, maybe the arms straighten, maybe the legs straighten, you lift the low belly. And without letting anything else change, I'll retract the chin a little and drop the chin to the chest to open up the back of the neck and breathe. Little baby bend in the legs feels safest. Really focusing on the breath, feeling the widening across the chest as you inhale. And the softening as you exhale. And I stay long enough where the body starts to take it in and shift. Just doing something for a couple seconds doesn't really resonate as much as staying for a while and working with and feeling. I can feel my heart beating. Bring my head up. I bring ear to shoulder a little bit. Soft throat. Release. Feels very different for me across here now. And then I have another side to do. If you're doing this with me, you have another side to do. So now I'm standing on my integrating hip. I like to bring my leg over towards sort of the side of the walker. For this one, because this is the integrating hip, it's the right hand that has been super important for my stability. I need that oppositional support more than even the same side support. You see what it is for you. I just offer that as a acknowledgement. And again, I'm just let this arm float up or out or bend. I could go open, close, open with the elbows. So I'm kind of working through the shoulder curl. That's today's discovery. I kind of like the floating, and I'm really checking, are those right toes staying forward? There's a tendency to externally rotate and to let the toes kick out. There's also a tendency to maybe hinge at the hips. I want to lift the low belly, bring belly to spine, which is why I can bring that hand behind and press my low belly into my own hand and feel the width across the side of the body. I put a baby secret bend in this leg so that I'm not propping and locking, but still a sense of lift energy of like the sole of my foot is gathering energy, pulling it up the leg all the way to the heart, or to the crown of the head, just this sense of whole body. Yeah, we're focusing on parts, but then can you feel the whole? Can you be in the whole body? Just gonna play around. I recommend having that sense of curiosity. And when I start to feel this side get tired, I'll challenge it with maybe a couple more. Now it's turning on. And that feels like plenty. And my spine really was working hard. Like I feel the muscles on the side of my back. So sometimes I'll inhale, exhale. One of my favorite things from Qigong, but also I learned it before Qigong and taught it in my modern dance classes. I call it spinal waves, because in dance, in jazz dance, in modern dance, we're always focused on working the spine fluidly. And so I do a baby spine wave. And this is how that goes. I'm going to inhale, exhale, kind of a gentle retraction of the chin, like I'm lifting the back of the skull, bend the knees, and then like a turtle, I'm gonna go down into my shell. And then I'm gonna widen my sit spine. Notice my knees are bent, tops of the thighs back like that baby chair, lift through the chest. I like to reach my chin. Exhale, chin to chest, low belly to low back, bend the knees a little more. Inhale, widen the sit spines, widen the collarbones, and come up. I'm not straightening my legs hard at all because I don't think that's good for my hip. I'm feeling length, and inhale up. When I do this in dance, I add arms. And so because I like that, and I feel okay and stable, I'm gonna do it. Exhale, dive, curling. Inhale, I'll send my hands back, my heart forward, and then I'll lift belly to spine, bring my arms up, my shoulder blades glide down the back body, I curl in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. One more with hands here. Exhale. Inhale. And stand. From there, one of the spinal actions that I have not done is lateral flexion and extension. This, again, has not been assigned, but just something that I'm doing every day. Again, legs kind of a little wider than hips with knees bent. And also because I want to keep my arm strength, I'm kind of doing an imaginary pull as if I was pulling on something like a pulley that had a heavy weight on it, that feeling. So I start with my arms goal pose. I inhale here. I exhale, one side pulls, I bend my knees and the other side reaches. I inhale here. Exhale. Inhale, center. Feel the width. Exhale, pull. Pull, pull, pull. And I'm going to reach the other fingertips. Try to keep my shoulder away from my ear. Really feel that foot as I kind of hang from this. And inhale. I'll let my legs straighten a little. Exhale, bend a little. Inhale, enjoy the length on this side, whatever side's extended. Exhale, bring belly to spine, start to come up. Inhale, center. You can bring the elbows back a little if you want. Exhale, coming, pull. Really ignite that bicep like you're pulling on something, and that's allowing the other arm to float. And then be in the float. Exhale, belly to spine. One more like this. Inhale, maybe the elbows come back a little. Exhale, pull. Make that bicep. Show off your guns. Inhale, reach. Exhale. Now I'm going to show you how I extend this if it feels okay. Inhale, center. Exhale, pull. Inhale, reach. You might want your hand on the thing. Exhale, reach over a little more. And then I actually, without the walker so close, drop that arm and do a couple circles here. Another way to do that with the walker that's better possibly is to bend your elbow. Inhale, open it behind. Exhale, bring it across. Inhale, open it back. Exhale, bring it across. And I could straighten. Inhale, open, lift low belly to low back. I'm not letting my knees twist. I'm not letting my hips twist. I'm isolating through the thoracic spine and shoulder. And then again, it's this side bend I'm after. So maybe back of hand to back of shoulder and reach your elbow up and breathe. And then come through center. You can find your own way again. The way I teach in general, especially yoga, is that I offer some options And then you create from the offering, you feel with your body, and you might create something completely different, which is great. That feels really good to you. That's how all this was discovered. Inhale. Exhale, I'm gonna pull again. I'm gonna get that length in this side without letting the shoulder come up. I want space between my shoulder and ear. So for a lot of people, that means bending your elbow more. The arm might not straighten, which is fine. And then I'm gonna reach kind of, instead of thinking of over so much, think of diving up to the opposite corner. Oh, that side body bend just feels so good to me. And I'm really supported with belly to spine. Actually, having my hand there feels good. And then I'll let it release a little, kind of inhale up. Again, I could go inhale, exhale across. One of my favorites, to isolate through the shoulder girdle, to open the front of the chest, and then to open the back between the shoulder blades. Yeah. And then I'm gonna tap and reach the elbow up and just get some space between my pelvis and my waist, where, again, lying and sitting so much, I just need space. Breathe. And belly to spine to come up. So again, the PT things that were assigned were the chairs, the leg lifts, and these. The other one is kind of like an obstacle course that she set up for me. I called it the toddler high jump because she set up little bars that I had to step over, and that actually was the hardest thing. And so I've been using, like, I can't step up very high at this point, which is fine. I'm working at my capacity. So I've been using, like, as my little hurdles. First of all, the walker has to be able to go over it. So maybe, 3 books, or I used some saran wrap, for example. But if you could imagine a little hurdle here, you step over and then you bring the other leg over. So it's like little toddler step overs. And that action of lifting without getting super angry in the hip flexor is challenging. And then you would go back over your hurdles. So if you get this in PT, I'm just sharing this because I'm sharing my experience, which was that for me, coming back, I can get my leg a lot higher than going forward. And this is with the anterior hip replacement. My guess is that it's because my incision's here. There's a lot of this kind of reorganizing and reintegrating, and the following, just the leg, if that leg follows, it feels better. But here, if I have to initiate with all that stuff that, was moved about a bit, let's just say. It's getting better though, friends. It used to be I could not lift my heel at all, for sure. And again, if you're at that place where you can't lift it yet, let this be noticed that you keep working with your body, and you will. And it's your timeline. Again, I went into this teaching dance, teaching yoga, limping after some activities, but not always limping. I think it's really important to honor where you are in this journey of integration. And always, always, always be kind to yourself. And then I like to end with just a little bent knee, and either hands on the walker or my belly. Close my eyes and just take a few breaths here. Imagine that inhale just feeding my body with the energy of love, of nourishment. Feeling gratitude that I am able to work with my body each day, to listen to it, to know when to slow down, to begin to understand when I need to do maybe a tad more, and to know when I need to do a tad or a lot less, and to know that all of it's part of it, that it is not a linear journey. No journey is linear, I don't believe. It's more of a topographical map, and honoring your topography. I really hope that this is helpful to someone and somebody's. And I sincerely, if you're watching this and you are going through your own hip integration journey, I sincerely hope that yours is filled with support and that you have support from yourself and you gather the support that you need, and that you use this as a time to lean into curiosity about what your body can do and how you can love on it the most as you take steps forward. Thanks for watching.